I never thought I'd be that guy. You know, the one telling a story about betrayal and revenge on the internet. But here I am. And believe me when I say this, what happened between my wife, my brother, and me changed everything I thought I knew about family, love, and my own capacity for calculated patience. Before you hit subscribe, and I hope you do, I want to warn you, this isn't a story with a happy ending. At least, not the kind you're expecting. But if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely, you might find some satisfaction in how it all played out. 3 years ago, my life looked perfect on paper. I had a beautiful home in a suburb just outside of Chicago, a job at a financial consulting firm that paid well enough to afford weekend trips to Michigan's wine country, and a marriage I thought was rock solid. Sarah and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We met in college, that classic story of library study sessions turning into coffee dates, then dinner dates, then, well, you get the picture. My brother Mike lived about 20 minutes away. He'd always been the fun one growing up, the guy who'd talk his way out of speeding tickets, who always had a new girlfriend, who could charm anyone from grandmas to bouncers. I was the responsible one, the planner, the one with the steady job and the 401k. We were different, but close. Sunday dinners at our place were a tradition, and Sarah always made his favorite lasagna, even though I preferred her chicken parmesan. That detail seems so stupid now, so unimportant. But I think about it sometimes, how she would spend hours on Sunday mornings preparing his favorite meal while I read the paper, completely oblivious to what was happening right under my nose. The day I found out started like any other Tuesday. I woke up at 6:15, kissed Sarah goodbye while she was still half asleep, and headed to the gym before work. I forgot my wireless earbuds and turned back after being halfway to the gym. Not a big deal. I just grabbed them and be on my way, maybe 5 minutes behind schedule. I still remember the feeling of my key turning in the lock. That mundane sound that had never meant anything before suddenly became the dividing line between my old life and whatever this is now. Sarah's phone was on the kitchen counter, face up. A notification flashed across the screen as I walked by, from Mike. All it said was, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again this weekend while he's in Detroit." I, I just stood there. Time did that thing where it stretches and compresses all at once. My hands started tingling. You know that pins and needles feeling? My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. But I didn't touch the phone, didn't confront her. Some part of my brain just switched from husband to strategist in the span of a text message. Because I was supposed to be in Detroit that weekend, client meeting had been on the calendar for months. Instead of confronting her, I grabbed my earbuds from the counter, right next to her phone, and left. Drove to the gym, did my workout, went to work, attended meetings, responded to emails, all while feeling like I was watching myself from outside my body. That night when Sarah asked how my day was, I smiled and told her it was fine. Asked about hers, kissed her goodnight, and started planning. Have you ever felt yourself changing and been powerless to stop it? That's what happened over the next few weeks. The man I had been, trusting, open, maybe a little naive, died the moment I saw that text. And someone else took his place. Someone colder, more calculating. I needed proof beyond a single text message. Not for divorce court, though that would come later, but for myself. I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. I installed cameras in our house. Not in the bedroom. I couldn't watch that. But in the living room, the kitchen, the hallway. I told Sarah I was concerned about some break-ins in the neighborhood. She believed me. Then I created a new email account and sent myself a fake invitation to a financial conference in Detroit for the upcoming weekend. Left it open on my laptop where she would see it. Mentioned how annoyed I was about having to go. "It's just 2 nights," she said, rubbing my shoulders. "It'll fly by." The weight of her hands made me want to vomit. Friday came. I packed my bag, kissed her goodbye, drove to a hotel 15 minutes from our house instead of to the airport. And I waited. Watched the camera feed on my laptop. At 7:43 p.m., Mike's car pulled into our driveway. He brought wine, The expensive kind he never bought when we had dinner together. Sarah greeted him at the door wearing a dress I'd given her for our anniversary. They didn't even wait to get upstairs. My brother and my wife, on my couch, in my home. I shut the laptop, but not before saving the video file. Then I went to the hotel bar and ordered a whiskey neat, then another. A woman 2 seats down smiled at me. I showed her my ring and turned away. Because this wasn't about finding someone new. This wasn't even about the betrayal anymore. At least not only that. It was about justice, and I was just getting started. For the next 3 months, I lived a double life. Husband by day, detective by night. I tracked their patterns. They were careful, but not careful enough. Tuesday afternoons when I usually had a standing meeting. Friday evenings when I traveled. The occasional Sunday when I golfed with clients. I smiled through Sunday dinners, watching them avoid eye contact with each other, catching the occasional private smile they thought I couldn't see. I hugged my brother goodbye each time, feeling his hand on my back, hearing him say, "Love you, bro." The rage became a living thing inside me. Not hot and explosive, but cold and patient, like a glacier, moving imperceptibly but crushing everything in its path. Meanwhile, I started moving money. Not all at once, that would be too obvious. Just enough from our joint accounts into a new account in only my name. I consulted a divorce attorney who specialized in infidelity cases. Got my ducks in a row, as my father would have said. Then I set up fake social media accounts, started gathering information about Mike's job. He worked in pharmaceutical sales, where relationships with doctors were everything. I learned which doctors were his biggest clients, which hospitals he couldn't afford to lose. I cataloged every lie Sarah told me. Working late, girls' night, yoga class. I found hotel receipts in the trash, charged to Mike's credit card, downloaded their text messages, discovered emails they'd sent each other, stupid, careless emails about their future together once they figured out how to handle the situation. The situation. That's what I was to them. A problem to be solved. On particularly dark nights, I'd lie awake beside Sarah, listening to her breathing, wondering if she dreamed about him, wondering what the last 3 years of my life had actually been. Had she ever loved me? Was anything real? But I never cried. Not once. It was like all my tears had dried up, replaced by this cold, relentless focus. And then came the moment that changed everything again. I overheard Sarah on the phone with someone, her sister, I think, saying she was worried about getting pregnant because she didn't know which one would be the father. And I thought I couldn't feel any more betrayed. That's when I decided it was time. No more surveillance, no more planning. It was time to end this. I scheduled my revenge for a Sunday, our traditional family dinner day, sent out a group text to Sarah, Mike, our parents, and Sarah's sister. Special dinner this Sunday at 6. I'm cooking. Big announcement to share. Everyone assumed we were finally announcing a pregnancy. Sarah looked confused but played along. What else could she do? Sunday arrived. I spent the morning cooking. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, green beans with almonds, fresh rolls. My mother's recipes. I opened expensive wine, set the table with our best dishes, even put out candles. Sarah kept trying to help, kept asking what the announcement was. I just smiled and said, "You'll see." By 6:30, everyone was seated around our dining room table. My parents, her sister and brother-in-law, Mike, who'd shown up late as usual with a bottle of champagne for the celebration. The meal was perfect, the conversation light. Everyone was expecting happiness, anticipation building with each passing moment. When would we share our news? What was the big announcement? After dessert, Sarah's favorite cheesecake that I'd special ordered from that place downtown. I stood up, wine glass in hand. "I want to thank everyone for coming tonight," I said, my voice steady. "Family means everything to me. Trust means everything to me." I glanced at Sarah, whose smile was starting to falter. At Mike, who was suddenly very interested in his water glass. I've learned recently that those things, family, trust, don't mean the same to everyone at this table. My mother's brow furrowed. "Honey, what are you talking about?" Instead of answering, I walked to the living room, where I'd set up a projector aimed at the blank wall. Everyone followed, curious, confused. With one click of a remote, the first image appeared. A series of stills from the security footage. Sarah and Mike entering our house, embracing in the kitchen. More compromising positions on the couch. Then texts, emails, hotel receipts. I let it play for about 30 seconds before turning it off. It was enough. The damage was done. The silence was absolute, the kind that rings in your ears. Then the storm broke. My mother started crying. Sarah's sister gasped. My father stood up, face red, moving toward Mike. Sarah just stared at me, her face drained of color. "James," she whispered, "please." Mike tried to speak, took a step toward me. "Bro, I can explain." That's when I held up my hand. Everyone froze. "I'm not interested in explanations," I said quietly. "I've had 3 months to process this. Today isn't about hearing your excuses. It's about consequences." I turned to Sarah. "I've filed for divorce. The papers are with my lawyer. Your things have been packed and moved to a storage unit." I slid a key across the table to her. "The address is on the tag. To Mike. Those emails you thought were from Dr. Brenner and Dr. Simons, the ones saying they were terminating their contracts with your company, effective immediately due to ethical concerns, those came from me. Good luck rebuilding those relationships." His face crumpled as he realized what I meant. Those 2 doctors represented about 40% of his commission income. "Oh," I added almost as an afterthought, "and the home equity line of credit you took out last month, Sarah? The one you forged my signature on to get $50,000 to help Mike cover his gambling debts? I've already reported it to the bank and the police. They're very interested in speaking with both of you." I'd discovered the forgery by accident when checking our mail. A thank you letter from the bank. Another careless mistake on their part. Sarah's sister stood up. "We should go." "Yes," I agreed. "All of you should go." As they filed out, my parents in shock, Sarah sobbing, Mike trying to explain himself to anyone who would listen, I remained standing in our living room, that cold thing inside me finally still. When the door closed behind them, I sat down on the couch. Not the one from the video. I'd thrown that away weeks ago and exhaled for what felt like the first time in months. It was over. People ask me now if I regret not confronting them immediately. If I regret the calculated nature of my revenge. If I wouldn't have been better off just walking away. Sometimes I wonder that myself. There's a weight to carrying that kind of cold fury for months, to meticulously dismantling someone else's life, even when they deserve it. It changes you. But then I remember Sunday dinners, and Mike's arm around my shoulder, and Sarah's kiss goodbye on mornings when she'd already been with him the night before. I remember how they'd planned to handle the situation, how they'd laughed at me behind my back. And I know I'd do it all again. I live in Seattle now. New job, new apartment, new life. I'm not dating yet. Not sure when I'll be ready for that. But I'm getting better at trusting myself again, even if I'm more cautious about trusting others. Last month, my mother called to tell me that Mike and Sarah had moved in together after she sold the house, that they're struggling financially, that they miss me. I changed my phone number the next day. Here's what I've learned. Sometimes the people who should love you the most are the ones capable of hurting you the worst. Sometimes forgiveness isn't possible or even desirable. And sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't loud and dramatic. It's quiet, methodical, and served cold. If you've stayed with me to the end of this story, thank you. I hope you never find yourself in a situation like mine. But if you do, remember, you are stronger than you think. The people who betray you don't get to decide your worth. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing to my channel for more real-life experiences. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? How did you handle it? Until next time.